You don't want to be on camera or what? Alright, so we have a slight update to the game counter. We've been going with 713, but like I said at the beginning of the Super Nintendo Complete in Box Quest, that there was no accurate list out there. All the lists had mistakes on them. So I found out that my list actually had mistakes too. For example, Super Bomberman was counted twice because you have the Complete in Box for Super Bomberman, and then you had the Complete in Box Super Bomberman Party Pack. And then there were gray areas like Super Mario All-Star, Super Mario World. That game actually never came with a box, except for with the console. So after spending more hours on the list, I came up to the new number of 717, which makes a lot more sense because then we're not counting 718, which would be Chavez, 719 Chavez 2, 720 Super Copa, and then 721 Exertainment Mountain Bike Speed Racer Combo Pack. So none of the games that we're reviewing have changed, there's just a slight change to the counter.
What are you doing?
With that being said, today we have 7 more games that we'll be adding to the collection. Let's check them out. And the first game up is Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast was developed by Probe Software and published by Hudson Soft. It released for the Super Nintendo in 1994. Starting the game, Belle runs off and you must chase her down. If you don't catch her and make her fall in love with you, you'll be stuck as a beast forever. Every level has a time limit. The timer is a rose that slowly withers away as you play. You encounter all kinds of enemies throughout the game. To take them out, you can slap them, stomp them, or even throw stones at them. The beast is also able to roar. Roaring will freeze enemies temporarily, and it's also needed to make some platforms move. You also find a variety of items in each stage. You can find rose petals, which give you extra time, hearts, which give you extra tries, and mirrors, which allow you to see ahead. Defeating enemies and collecting items also gives you points. Once you have 50,000 points, you earn an extra try. Finding books will also give you points. Different colored books do different things. For example, red books will temporarily make you invincible, and green books serve as a checkpoint if you die in a level. If you collect the books in a certain order, you get bonus points. I don't even see how that's possible. Visually, the game looks great. The music in the game is even better. Where the game loses points is the controls and difficulty level. Controlling the beast is really touchy. It's not a smooth experience at all. And why is a Disney game so hard? There's definitely a lot of trial and error in the game. The game would be hard enough without the short time limit you have for each stage. Beauty and the Beast reminds me a lot of Prehistoric Man. It's a great looking and sounding game, but the controls hinder the experience. Overall, Beauty and the Beast isn't a terrible game, but they could have done so much better with it. Beauty and the Beast is game number 62 for the collection, and I found the box and manual for $46 shipped. I later found the cart for $37 at a local game store, giving our complete in box a total of $83. And at $83, that brings our total up to $14,464 for the Super Nintendo Complete in Box Quest. And the next game up is NBA Live 95. NBA Live 95 was developed and published by EA Sports and released for the SNES in 1994. NBA Live 95 is the first NBA Live game in the NBA Live series. It was a successor to NBA Showdown. The game features real teams and players and allows up to 5 players to play. The controls are good and you have turbo buttons just like an NBA Jam. However, the jumping takes some serious getting used to because the players jump really far when you're running and jumping. Other than that, I was really satisfied with how responsive the controls were while stealing and recovering rebounds. The passing and shooting was pretty smooth too. The visuals are average and do the job. And the gameplay is fun if you like basketball games. Overall, NBA Live 95 isn't a bad basketball game for the system. NBA Live 95 is game number 63 for the collection, and I found it at a game store for $18. And at $18, that brings our total up to $14,482 for the SNES Quest. And the next game up is Kirbys Avalanche. Kirbys Avalanche was developed by Compile and published by Nintendo. It was available to purchase in 1995. Kirbys Avalanche is a puzzle game. The simple explanation of the game is you stack 4 blobs of the same color together and make them disappear. But the real challenge in the game is making chain reactions happen. Chain reactions happen when you connect 4 of the same colored blobs together, causing another set of 4 blobs to disappear in the same move. As you make blobs disappear, you send boulders over to your opponent's side, which hinder their gameplay. The bigger the chain reaction, the more boulders you send. When your blobs get stacked to the top of the screen, you lose. In single player, you'll battle different bosses from Kirby games, but you can also play with a friend. The visuals and sound in the game are what you'd expect from a Kirby game. The controls are simple and work as they should. The gameplay is fun if you like puzzle games, but it does have a big learning curve. It can get frustrating trying to make a plan to avalanche your opponent, only to get a wall of boulders dumped on you. Overall, Kirbys Avalanche is a decent game worth checking out if you're a fan of puzzle games.
Kirbys Avalanche is game number 64 for the collection, and I found it for $60 at a local game store. And at $60, that brings our total up to $14,542 for the collection. And the next game up is Super Soccer.
Super Soccer was developed by Human Entertainment and published by Nintendo. It kicked onto store shelves in 1992. Super Soccer is my least favorite soccer game we've covered so far, but we still have about 500 more to go. Although it's my least fave, it does have some good things going for it. For starters, I think this is the first sports game we've played that has music during the gameplay. It also offers a different view than most games where you go up and down the field versus left to right. It's much harder to go down the field than up. You can't see the goal when coming down, so that kind of takes away from the gameplay. The stats are nonsense. They don't reflect how good or bad a team is whatsoever. The visuals are fuzzy, but you can still make out what's going on in the game for the most part. The controls are hit or miss. Passing can be a pain. You can select a character and use the Y button to pass to them specifically, or use the A button and aim in the direction that you want to pass. But it doesn't always work well. It's also annoying when you go to throw the ball in and the other team just stands in front of your team, so you never get the ball anyway. The shootout will make you want to crush your controller. There were a ton of balls I should have blocked but didn't. Overall, Super Soccer is an okay game, but the computer feels rigged. Every soccer game we covered before this one was better. So if you want to play a soccer game on the SNES, there are many others better than this one.
Super Soccer is game number 65 for the collection, and I don't remember what I paid for it. Price charting has it at $40, and at $40, that brings our total up to $14,582 for the collection. Next game up is Double Dragon 5: The Shadow Falls.
Double Dragon 5 was developed by Leland Interactive and published by TradeWest. It was available in stores in 1994. Double Dragon 5 is a fighting game. A more appropriate description would be a button masher. There is no strategy in the game. Your goal is to just take out your opponent before they get you. You don't have time to perform any special moves, and there are no combos. You have 3 kicks and 3 punches. The L and R are your strongest kick and punch, the X and A buttons are your medium attacks, and the Y and B are for light kick and punch. Your D-pad moves you in 8 different directions. Hitting buttons in a certain order will do a special attack. The special changes from character to character. There are 10 playable characters and 12 arenas to choose from. You can see the moves of each fighter by selecting a battle demo and watching the computer control the characters, which is pretty neat. The coolest thing about Double Dragon 5 is the instruction manual. The whole manual is a comic explaining how to play the game and the different options. The visuals and sound in the game is decent. The controls are hit or miss and the gameplay isn't that great. Overall, Double Dragon 5 is a game you should pass on.
Double Dragon 5: The Shadow Falls is game number 66 for the collection, and I have $60 in trade for it. And at $60, that brings our total up to $14,642 for the collection. And the next game we have up is Side Pocket.
Side Pocket was developed by Iguana Entertainment and published by Data East. It was available for purchase in 1993. As you probably guessed, Side Pocket is a pool game. There are a couple ways to play. The first way to play is a one-player pocket game. There are 5 stages to make it through, each requiring you to make a certain number of points to advance. Stages 2 through 5 also require you to do a trick shot, in conjunction with making enough points. There's also a trick shot mode. Anytime you complete a trick shot, it uncovers a puzzle piece. Once you complete all the trick shots, you'll reveal a picture of a girl that you've already seen in the game before. There are also 2 two-player options, which is a 2-player pocket game and 9-ball. The game looks good and the music is chill. Getting the aim down along with putting proper English on the ball takes a ton of practice. The best part of the game is the trick shots. I was surprised to find there was no regular 8-ball mode to play. I don't know how many people are looking to play a pool game on the Super NES, but if you are, here you go.
Side Pocket is game number 67 for the collection, and I have $15 in trade for it. And at $15, that brings our total up to $14,657 for the Super NES Complete in Box Quest. Last but not least is Firepower 2000.
Firepower 2000 was developed by SCI Games and published by Sunsoft. It shot onto store shelves in 1992. The underground races put together an army so large, it could be considered a superpower. It's our job to find the enemy, penetrate its defenses, and neutralize every stronghold. Firepower 2000 is a shmup where you can play as a tank or helicopter. The tank goes across the ground and can shoot in any direction. It also avoids getting hit by flying aircraft. Playing as the aircraft, you'll avoid hitting ground enemies, but you can only fire your weapon straight. There's also one part of the game where you turn into a boat, but it does what the Jeep does. The controls and ship speed in the game are excellent. The visuals are somewhat cartoony feeling, but are great as well. The music and sound in the game is also excellent. Blowing up your enemies has a very satisfying sound. The game is brutally hard though. You get a few ships to take on 6 levels. Once your ships are gone, it's game over and you have to start the game over. You can upgrade your weapons along the way. However, if you lose a ship, you lose your weapon power. Fighting bosses with a level 1 weapon takes forever. Firepower 2000 takes a lot of time to master. Overall, Firepower 2000 is a game worth checking out if you're a fan of shmups. Just be prepared for a very high difficulty level.
Firepower 2000 is game number 68 for the collection, and it cost me $117 shipped. And $117, that brings our total up to $14,774 for the Super Nintendo Complete in Box Quest. Now $117 might be a little bit high for this now, but I have noticed that a lot of prices have been falling recently, and price charting is reflecting those new prices. So although I paid $117 for this, you might be able to find it a little bit cheaper. Let's get these games on the shelf. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to subscribe, and I'll be bringing you more videos like this. I'm completing the entire Super Nintendo library, complete in box, right here on this show. Also make sure to leave a thumbs up for Firepower 2000. Until next time, I'm Gamer Wayne, and thanks for watching.